Shazam.
Shazam. Hello and good evening. Welcome to Muse Broadcasting. This is our 9th edition and we are here to bring you bi-weekly inspirations turning into weekly shortly, and as momentum keeps moving, we will have on our website, we will have weekly and daily inspirations as well. For now, you can catch that at musebroadcasting.weebly.com. And we are here to elevate the vibrational frequencies as we move forward and flow through connecting with one another in our communities. And Heather Muse will be able to start us an opening circle today. Heather.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Katsura. So the purpose of the opening circle is just to get us all on the same page and to form a container of what we're creating today, because we're all collaborators in this conversation. So I want us all just to put our Did anybody else just lose her again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So,
as wide as we can. And imagine that we're heading to the next big circle and creating a container. And so this is a big... Okay, and we're going to be throwing all of our magic muse wisdom into the pot throughout the conversation, and at the end of the conversation, then we'll go ahead and close the container and bring that home with us to integrate into our lives.
I think we get, it was kind of choppy, but I think we get the heart of the matter. With having an open container, building that container, and mixing a lot of muse, inspiration, and magic to make it happen. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like people to just introduce themselves and maybe say what inspires you today.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go ahead and start. My name is Katsura, and what inspires me today, oh my goodness, many inspirations, and today what has inspired me is the ability to appreciate where I have been, where I am now, and the momentum that has come together. Instead of looking, and I had kind of like a little mini breakdown in which I was like, oh, there's so much to do, and I feel like I'm falling behind. And thank you, Steve, had some great advice in which look at the appreciation, look at what there is that has taken place and how awesome it is. Strategize, make a plan, move forward, and get things together. So today, my inspiration has been appreciation. So thank you for allowing me to share that. Appreciate it. What about yourself, Parker? Or anybody else, actually. That is audible.
Someone else, please.
Okay, please do jump in.
Well, I for one, am appreciating the sunshine and the longer day and the sort of the community that comes out when the weather's nice. A lot more possibilities seem available to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
How connected we are to the weather. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What's inspiring me right now is synchronicity. There's a lot of synchronicities going on in my life right now for things falling into place, for me to be a better muse overall, and for me to continue with the projects and visions that I've had. So that makes me very grateful. And that's my inspiration.
Oh, beautiful. Yes.
I guess my inspiration lately has just been kind of keeping my goal in mind and what I have coming ahead, and it's really exciting.
Beautiful.
I love how we can find inspiration in so many different places in life.
Yes.
Filing 22 lawsuits against big corporations and agencies and government, $1 million each.
Wow.
Just
really
filed 22
inspiring.
cases,
Oh.
2 malpractices, lawsuits, 2 million each, and filed the rest of them, 20 cases, 1 million each. Got to meet with a judge for ex parte meeting for motion to put all those cases cost on the deferrals I don't have to pay right now.
Wow.
So after 30 days of waiting, I just have to file default motion to enforce general ruling, and then I could lien on their properties. Put a lien, L-I-E-N.
Wow, that's inspiring.
Take action.
That's truly inspiring. Oh my goodness, it makes me happy to know this is taking place. Like, yes, oh, that's a lot of fuel for the engine. Thank you.
And I am filing some grants online at the grants.gov. You should do the same thing, but there's a national endowment for arts communities, and Muse community could totally use that. And probably Katsura and Bailey Liu could have probably applied for grants. And their grants range is 10,000 to 100,000. Deadline is August, so you should file for Muse.
Oh my god! Wow, we were just wondering, like, fundraisers and how to create a monetary.
Thank you so much for that information. I'm sure people will definitely get that. I would love to.
And also, individually, you could file for yourself as well as a performing artist.
Wow, thank you. I am inspired. I am truly inspired.
That's exciting.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, I would love to talk a little bit about the topics that we were thinking about for this week.
Yes, yes. Does anyone,
I have to check in first.
Yes, Luke.
I have to check in first. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. This is Reverend Jedi Knight Luke A. Shooting Star. And Walker, of course, walking across the sky, as you know. What inspires me is cross-pollination. We're here to light each other's fire, bring wind to each other's sails. And the work that we have before us is, it's the stuff of dreams come true, definitely. I'm working to make happiness come true in the world and promote International Peace Day and spread the ripples of wellness across this planet.
Yes.
Which will, from this point in the universe, expand these ripples of wellness exponentially on the quantum stage. Let it be.
Yes, and I want to add with that, increase Elysium in our lives, living in paradise, walking in paradise, wherever we are.
Exactly.
What do you think of that?
Shazam!
Totally.
Wonderful to be here with you.
Nice. Do we have any other seconds?
Okay. Well then, I do believe we'll go ahead and move forward. And I would love to present our first topic. And this is going to be understanding ego. Not just understanding ego as in our material ego, but as well as spiritual ego. And we do have a couple questions here as far as, is it possible to love with ego? Is it possible to be at peace with ego? And with being at peace and loving ego, can we be at one with ego? And I don't know if anyone would like to begin this topic here. I personally...
I have no idea what ego is.
Okay, cool. Well, If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and start. And I'm going to say, first of all, I had no idea what spiritual ego was until a couple weeks ago when it was presented on our Muse broadcast. And this term got brought up, and I was like, spiritual ego? I have no idea, so I'm confused there. But I'll tell you what I do know about ego. And I see ego as our vessel, the way we present ourselves to the world. And it's possible. I think it's possible to be at peace with ego, and I think ego is a healthy thing. I think it's something that is really good. I mean, it can be really bad, just like anything. It can be good or bad, but ego is something that helps us to translate what our spirit, what our higher self is communicating to the rest of the world. And with a healthy ego, it doesn't mean we're building up our ego's muscles and in any kind of aspect. It just means we are at peace with our higher self, and we are communicating what source energy is relaying, what is translating into the world we are here. And cool, yeah. And then spiritual ego, though, I've gotten some insight into that, but I'm still a little bit, I don't feel comfortable talking upon spiritual ego as much. I don't know.
And who was the other person who wanted to say something about this right off? Was that Lauren? Or okay, well, I thought there was somebody else who had started talking as well.
I do believe Lauren said he...
I'll say something. I'll say something if I can.
Yes, please.
Go for it.
Okay, I wasn't feeling a desire to say anything, and then all of a sudden I now feel like I want to, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Ego is just what ego is. And like everything else that exists, it is what it is. And we get into trouble by trying to make it into something other than what it is. So peace with ego is like peace with everything, just accepting what it is. And not defining it and not trying to be anything with it, because ego, just like us, just like everything, wants to be allowed to be what it is. So whether that, which is just another word, ego or smug ego, bad ego, good ego, they're all just words for us trying to define what is. Ego is ego, and in allowing what is be yourself, that's where we have awareness of what is, when we surrender to it and stop trying to define it. Even as we will continue to define it, something inside of us comes alive when we are aware of what we're doing. Ego is ego. What is.
So are you saying that ego doesn't have a definition?
Nothing has a definition. Like feel into the truth of everything is connected, like oneness. Go beyond your mind into the experience of oneness rather than trying to understand it. So the moment you go back into your mind, the moment you start defining it, you're separating yourself from that feeling that transcends mind into mind. Mind by definition defines, and mind by definition creates duality. And duality by definition is contained within oneness. Duality itself is not truth. So as you're defining what you're looking for, you are literally separating yourself from it. And you can't do anything other than be aware of that. And that awareness itself is the gift, the miracle of life. Everything else is just life unfolding. You can't define something and be at one with it. It's impossible.
Interesting. So without defining...
The way I see life, truth,
Well, I'm curious, without defining, and this is helping me to expand my understanding, I guess, if, maybe I'm trying too hard to understand. How, without defining,
that's the truth. We try too hard to understand. We feel into doing nothing. We feel, imagine you wanting to be loved, really, 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 really loved. And the words that will come to you from Father, Source, Oneness, whatever it is that you want to love you is, you don't have to do anything. You are already lovable. Everything that you want has already happened. There's no doing that's necessary. You are love itself. Those are the words that all of us want to hear. Those are the words of love. Love doesn't require anything. And we forget and we think we're separate, and then we go on this journey of thinking we have to do something in order to be loved. And then we remember again, oh, I don't have to do anything. And then we forget, and then we start again trying to define it and be it and be more than. And then by God's grace, we remember again that we are love itself. There is no separation.
That point you raised about being it is a danger. Maybe spiritual ego, when you identify too much with your spirituality, your spiritual practice, you think it sets you apart or makes you better from others. Is that maybe what we're talking about when we say spiritual ego? But I like when you identify with these concepts and they replace the self. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, and what I'm also saying is you can't help but do that. Like mind, ego, that's what it does. It identifies. It looks for something. It always seeks that which it will never find, and it can't stop. It's what it is. It's like in asking a rose to be a Corvette. Like a rose is a rose. An ego is an ego. It does what it does, and yet if in awareness of what it does, something happens. Some kind of peace arises. It doesn't change it. It allows it. Just like when I am aware of who you are instead of I can't change, I can't make you do anything. And yet, if I have a sense of, oh, that's who you are, something happens that transcends mind. And that's where I get necessary. If there's anything, there's an undoing. That's closer in my mind what truth is. And even the undoing isn't necessary. We don't have to do anything.
Thanks.
I definitely agree that ego is recognizing duality. And unity is recognizing wholeness.
Yep.
And I think for purposes of talking about a conversation, I think it is important for us to go back and forth between duality and unity. I think that's the cycle, that's the cyclone that we're in, that we're creating. This cycle of being together and being separate, and being together and being separate. And I think that's how we grow as a collective, and ultimately that's how we grow as an individual.
I agree with you, as long as, for me, within a container of awareness, that I'm watching myself go from one to the other, that something is consistent always, that awareness itself is consistent. Awareness never changes. That there's something that, or call it love or grace or whatever, that's always present, and our practice is to practice more and more and more connecting with that, so that duality is watched, that we're aware of duality, we're aware of oneness, we're aware of whatever is unfolding as life unfolds, that if the conversation always has within it awareness, then that for me is what the new paradigm's about. It's not about going into oneness and then duality and then oneness and then duality. We've been doing that for thousands of years. And what I believe has always been taught, that the missing piece, the place of grace, is to be aware that we're doing that. To have awareness of it. And without the awareness, the paradigm won't shift. It will just continue.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. And then also, though, I feel like, I mean, we can be who we are, we can be at one with who we are, and, but there's so many people within our spheres that come into our lives daily, constantly, and while we are one and we are alike, there's different ways, I feel like, of communicating with people. And it's not that the heart changes, it's not that who you are changes or what you represent changes when you're speaking, but within these different encounters, there's a different way in which to speak with people. And I'm not saying that you're acting fake, and when I'm doing this, it's not that I'm acting fake, it's just a different way of connecting, and that connection with different people that come into lives. I don't necessarily speak, and while I say, I attempt to speak from the heart at all times, always. If I am speaking to my sister, it's different than how I speak to someone at work, how I speak to my best friend. It all comes from the same place, and it stems from a heart source. I mean, I try. I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely have my errors at times, but I do, and I have a different way of speaking to these people. And while it is frequent and it's the same, it may be a different style of language, or just kind of a way so that others can understand, so I can be understood the best. I think if I were to talk to my father, who's a little bit more conservative, the way I talk to my closest friends, we wouldn't get along. To be in all honesty, you would think I'm kind of, I'm too out there, I'm too weird, and I don't make sense, and so I speak differently there, and I feel like that is the reason I do this, is not because I'm not proud of who I am and I need to change who I am, but it's because I present myself in a way that is understood by others in another fashion. And I feel like that's what the ego does, for like how, as I see it, as I see it, it helps to, and I don't know, maybe it is a shell, maybe it's a shell that is in place so that I feel protected, and it's a protection, it's a barrier, it's a wall that needs to be knocked down. I'm very open to that as well. More open.
But as you are saying that this is what you're doing, you are then in the next breath saying that maybe it's not okay, maybe there is something different, maybe I'm fooling myself, and that openness itself is what allows something new to arise. I'm not suggesting that there's any correct way of doing it. What I'm saying is, the moment you are aware of what you are doing, watch it. That's the beauty, that's the place of grace, for something new to arise, something that's inspired, something that comes into the space that has never been there before, and yet you have a sense that it always has been. And from that place, a different form of communication happens, a different way of relating happens, something different than you've ever done before. And I believe, as I was listening to you speak, that's what you were articulating. That you're hungry to learn a different kind of a way. And we come together because we're hungry for something that's new. Something that we own, each one of us. That's the part that we get, that we are one. And we come together in order to create a space for that to arise. And that's why we talk. That's why we share our different perspectives, so we can find a place where we join.
Yeah. I have something to add too before we move on.
Okay.
Yes, go for it.
I really identify with Carlos Castaneda's ideas, and I've incorporated them into my own understanding of reality and the working together of these two parts of consciousness. He related them to the tonal and the nagwal. The tonal is the awareness of being an island or the individual or separation, and the nagwal is the awareness of the ocean and all the islands. And in the analogy that I shared before, the universe, as well as all the planets within them. So the ego is like the awareness of my own, space, my own cellular territory, and then anything outside of that is the larger awareness that happens. It bridges us, that's how we cross-pollinate.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful. I really resonate with what you're saying. Like, I think that's really beautiful, the way you articulated that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I've never heard it explained in that way, and that seems very, very succinct. It resonates with me too.
Yeah.
It helps me as well. Thanks. Blessings.
Yeah, thank you.
We are muses entirely, indeed. That's what I think it's like to be a shooting star. Shooting stars flash around the galaxy, lighting up many planets and lighting up people's lives.
Yeah.
That's comet, not shooting stars.
Yes, indeed. Okay, Spock. Blessed be. Well, my middle name is actually Hokulele. It's a Hawaiian word, means shooting star. Hokulele.
Great. So, does anyone else have any input or desire to speak on this topic before we move on? About ego or ideas or inspirations that came to you around ego?
Sure. Now I understand what ego is. It's how I talk to people and inspire them. And
really? Can you tell more? Yeah.
Sure. Yesterday, after I filed 7 cases, I was in an elevator and I saw these couple of people and they were like talking very happily. So I said, "What are you guys doing in a court?" Because usually sad people goes to court. So they were happy and I said, "Why are you so happy?" And they said, "We're going to get married." So I said, "Hi, let me take your photos." And they asked how much. It's free. Said for real. And they said, "Come on over." So I took their wedding photos inside the courtroom. And then they invited me to their wedding reception party. I went there, photographed that. And then I stayed until the after party was over around midnight. And then I came home, did my laundry, shower, and dishwashing, and then started working on the photographs, uploaded onto Facebook, Flickr, and YouTube. And then in the morning I sent them the links. They didn't go on a honeymoon yet. They went to a job, places they had to go to. And then they're happy that they're now inviting me to be part of their family.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yay.
That's awesome.
And I didn't separate myself to be like, because I was talking to one person, the other, I just talked straight out of my heart, and they recognized it, I think.
I love that story. It's so positive, and especially in talking about ego, when so often we bring up negative stories or connotations. So can you speak a little bit more about how you positively used ego, or how ego was working in harmony for you in this particular situation?
All situation combined, my ego wants to help people and share and understand, but mostly just give them a helping hand when they're feeling like they're gonna cry or they're feeling like there's no outlet they could find solution to. And then somehow my ego finds a way to help them get through what they're going through. And the couple needed a photographer. I said, I could be a photographer. And then when at the reception, they were looking for someone to put some money in the jukebox, and I put 23 songs in it. So it was for 3.5 hours of entertainment. They were liking it, they were dancing, and they were having fun, and they were relating to the song, and they were talking about the song. And then they all left really happy, like smiling, joys. And one of the groom's long-lost brother that was distant came up to him and said he was actually sharing his heart out about how when they were younger, their mom her water broke while driving, and then that's when the younger brother was born. So the groom finally cried after the brother left for about 10 minutes, and I took some photos and stuff.
Oh.
And
wow.
I already edited all the photos, so I'm done with that project. I already ordered 400 photos, 4x6s in matte, not a glossy, but matte, and I already ordered it, so it's coming.
Oh,
beautiful. I really love your illustrations about how ego can be a positive thing, and you can use it in awareness of seeing how you are separate with someone else. You can still step up and use unity in harmony with ego. So you can have the awareness of separation, and you can choose to step up and create more of a unity. So I really appreciate that about you. Thank you. That's a gift you have.
yes. And as you were speaking about this, it was almost like I got to experience that beauty of that moment for those seconds you're talking about it, and just be filled with that, with the magic, with the love, with the light. Thank you. Thank you. It's gorgeous.
Welcome. Thank you.
Great. So does anybody else have something to speak about on that topic?
No, I think that kind of says it all.
I think so too. Yeah, and so then that was bringing us into the idea of unity as well, which many people can consider to be the opposite of ego. If ego is the awareness of separation, then unity would be the awareness of all things being connected. And so in my life philosophy, the way that I enjoy practicing living and being is seeing myself reflected in everybody else. Just knowing that we're all a piece of the same puzzle, and that everyone is here to reflect pieces of us back to each other so that we can know ourselves better and see ourselves better and become more cohesive, I feel like, is the purpose. I know I can say that I don't do that 100% of the time, but that's my goal. I do it most of the time. Probably like 80%.
That's good though. Yeah.
So what do you guys feel about unity? Like how does unity come into play in your life, and do you define it, or do you stay away from defining it? I mean, maybe it's better to experience unity if we don't define it, if we just feel it.
I usually just let ego play out and unity happen. I don't try to define it. Like, the other day there was a garage sale on my next door neighbor, and they speak only Ukrainian. They don't speak English. So they brought their mother over, and I helped her by inviting them over to my vegetable garden that's producing a lot this summer. So she's going through pointing out this and that, and one of the child who speaks Ukrainian English is translating to her what my garden is about. This plant is this and that, and then she's commenting she knows how to make it better by telling me how to make it better, and I accept it and just do it. And then later, we talk about what we're doing as a garden and what I do, and then I help one of their kids with that. And then she invited me to come over and eat pumska, which is Ukrainian donut she made herself. And it was really delicious, so I went inside my house and brought my produce that I made. I made some dehydrated fruit roll-ups from blackberries I hand-harvested from Sauvie Island here in Portland. And I dehydrated it and made a fruit roll-up. And then I froze it and gave it to her, and she really, really enjoyed it. So I brought
awesome.
Pineapple dehydrated, pineapple and stuff. And then we started learning,
Yeah, so basically I can see in your illustration here that how we all, if we choose to embrace unity on a regular basis, then we would be sharing everything. We would be sharing what we have, we would be receiving from other people what they have, and we'd also be sharing knowledge between one another, knowledge and wisdom, which is the main reason that we became so passionate about this conversation, is so that we can put all of the Muse knowledge and wisdom and magic and juju and whatever we decide to throw into the pot in there together and share it all, absorb it all. Yeah. Thank you so much.
It can happen at the most unexpected moments. When those walls come down. When I was coaching track in Bremerton, my college roommate was singing on the Metropolitan stage, and it was being broadcast on 98.9 that day. And one of the athletes wanted to stay and work out, and I said, "Yeah, you can stay and work out, but we're listening to this on the radio." And he just kind of, erupted, didn't want to pay any attention to classical music. But, so here's a 17-year-old African-American inner city kid, and I'm just at the time a 35-year-old knothead from Montana, and just trying to support a friend of mine. And in comes the 72-year-old head coach. At one point in the 50s, he was one of the fastest men in the world. He grew up on a farm, and we're talking about classical music. The kid, Jamari, I think the kid says, "Do you guys really like this?" And I go, "Yeah, I love this, for now. I mean, I'm supporting my friend, but when I listen to this, I get a glimpse of the eternal." And for a minute, I kind of stepped back and said, "Where else are these three guys going to talk about anything?" And it was just that event that we had in common, that bond that we had built up practice after practice after practice, and bus rides and all those boring, tedious little interstitial moments that you don't pay any attention to. But it's bringing those walls down so you can have that kind of conversation.
Wow.
Excellent, of course. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's what another definition of what unity would be, is bringing those walls down.
But I didn't get any food out of the deal. I think Parker had a better deal than I
did.
I get free food at the reception and drinks. And also Thanksgiving party and Christmas party. Party crashing is always fun, and then later they all invite
my ego does not allow me to take favors like that. I gotta lighten up.
I think that had something to add too.
I also just had a pretty brilliant epiphany here. I was thinking, if I let the walls come down, will I remember my own needs? And I think that the topic came up recently, where if everybody looks to their own needs, then some people will starve. But if we look to each other's needs, then everybody will have their needs met. And I was like, okay, so in this moment I had this epiphany. I was like, if I let the walls down, will I remember my own needs? If I'm thinking about everybody else all the time, will I remember to dress before I go to work and stuff like that? Well, of course I will, because if I'm seeing myself through other people's eyes, then I'll know that I've got a booger hanging out of my nose, for instance, Right? Isn't that interesting? Whoa!
Yeah. Nobody wins unless everybody wins.
If I'm seeing through the others,
what the boogers are hanging out of.
We are one. Unity.
Yeah.
Unity.
Yeah. Now, if Parker's booger starts hanging out of Luke's nose, that is too much.
know. How could
I actually
people...
went up to a man and picked it out for him.
Oh, yeah. You can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friends' nose.
You can. Come to find.
Parker can.
But in this
I picked the booger out of a person's nose. He was in a church and he had a booger while playing a band, but my eyesight is so sharp, I could tell someone's booger from 200 feet and said, "You got a booger on your nose." I gave him a paper towel to take the booger out while he was playing guitar in the band.
That's good. Yeah, I would.
That's funny.
I just love people that will tell me when I have that. But which who is who? Which I is I? Is it me telling myself to that other person, or is it that person telling me? You know? Whoa! I just love when people tell me those kinds of things.
Mind-blowing.
Thank you.
Most rooms I'm in, I am the most outlandish person. I like this group.
I also just wanted to share an inspiration that came to me while you were speaking, Luke, about when you take down the walls and everybody's taking care of one another and not worrying so much about just taking care of themselves, then what actually ends up happening is everybody's taken care of 100 million times better than they were before. Because you have 100 million pairs of hands taking care of you, 100 million pairs of eyes watching over you. And that's an ideal unity consciousness, a way that it can work in a community, I think.
Yes, beautiful.
How do we get that message out?
You don't
have to have one more than the next person.
Yes.
I am buying lots of land to create community garden that's less than a quarter acre through the farm initiative loan. You only have to put down 1.5% of the entire purchase amount, so that's really low. And you could buy a quarter acre land for about $30,000 in Portland area. I'll probably buy 10 of them and start developing community garden, and then get more grants rolling, and then assigning people who are passionate about making their own garden but don't have access to it because they live in an apartment building. Then they'll love having access to fruit and vegetable that's put in there, and they'll probably put their own seeds, their own stuff. Notice that there's a facility there with the water access and there's sunlight, and there's way to sell it. So that community garden could eventually become side street vendor, and then they'll just sell straight out of there and then make money, and then they'll buy their own thing, and they'll be owner of their own community garden that could just give it to them.
Yay! Promote this widely. All over, yes.
I am realizing that.
So the unity revolution is already underway. We're in it. We're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, simply through speaking about this, hearing other stories and being able to share, it increases that feeling of we are all one and we are connected with one another, and it's happening. And as it's happening, here we are with similar missions, similar goals in life, and it just is. We don't need to stress about it. It's all over. It's beautiful. It's extremely heartwarming. Hi, Tanya.
Tanya's back on. Hi, Tanya.
Hello.
Yeah, my phone dropped the app for a while. I don't know.
Oh, it's good to have you back. I'm so glad you're back.
That's okay. I'm glad you're back.
Good. Katsura, Susanna tells me that the 12th anniversary of the Peace Vigil in Central Park this year is going to be to celebrate or to commemorate the life of John Lennon. So I think that fits in with this theme also. Yeah. Imagine all the world living in harmony, right?
Living life in peace. Yeah.
It's happening. We're part of it, you know?
Yeah, so we are all one, and yet we're still individuals. We still have to live a regular life, and we still need to do our individual schedules, for example, with our individual errands and our individual jobs that we choose to have, our careers, our work. And so then that brings us into the next topic of work. There's inner work that people are always talking about, working on yourself with personal development and whatnot. And then there's outer work, the work that you do in the world, that you do for society. And so in order to do any work, then it seems that we must have a balanced ego. we must be aware of the separation between us and others, and we must work within that, within the negative space in between us, I guess, is what it is. So, Steve, did you want to start on talking about work?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we're talking about inner work and the work that you do. Also, when we throw it out there, I'm going to throw out, too, that there's a lot of people see what they do for a living and then their work. You know, so Parker is a photographer and he loves that work, but there's also the community garden, which is something that plainly is close to his heart. And it's just, and it's a fluid, this idea of inner work and outer work. I think it's transitional. It's sometimes it sneaks up on us. When I was in the 9 years I spent teaching and coaching, on those days you really don't have any time to think about yourself. And when I looked up from that 9-year process, I had done more evolving and maturing and gained more compassion than I would have if I'd meditated every day and decided I'm going to become more mature, evolved, and compassionate. But it's, how do you balance those things? How do you find meaning in the work that you do for a living? How do you find that vocation? And if it's not the work you do for a living, how do you find that work that feeds your soul? And then when do you know to stand aside, especially in a accomplishment-driven society that says, you know, do something, be doing something. Well, I am doing something. I'm sitting. You don't see the fruits of it immediately. So it's, I guess let's start with inner work in a society where the first question is very often, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
Right. And how people really identify with what they do. And I'm sorry, was I talking over someone?
No, Parker's going to wait till you're done, and then he's got something great.
Okay. I think that it's quite interesting that we live in a society where everyone always does ask what you do, and they mean your career, your job, your chosen work. And I think that we've come to start identifying as whatever our work is, that we are this, and then it puts limitations on us, and we start to, anytime you define something, just as Lauren was pointing out, anytime you define something, you start putting limitations on it. So I've actually started asking people, what do you do in the world? Because that could mean what they're passionate about, that could mean a project they're working on, that could be their job, or that could be what they do for society. Anyway, I just wanted to make that point, how we identify with what we do and what work means to us.
I like that.
Actually, I'm gonna jump in and follow up on that, and then throw it to Parker, because I think he does have something interesting to say. That was exactly where I was at for years. I was as a reporter, I felt like if I told you I was a reporter, especially a sports reporter or a city hall crime reporter, that told you everything you needed to know about me. I now had defined myself as a person. Teacher, coach, those same things. And it just made it easier, and I confused it. You know, I didn't have access to these sorts of conversations. And I thought that was who I was. That's what I was about. And there was very little going on internally, or so I thought. You know, those things emerge, whether you're making them emerge or they come out as an emergency. But anyhow, I was definitely a classic case of somebody who identified with the job and thought, hey, that's it, that's who I am, you know, and that's how you should see me. That addiction to controlling how people perceive you. Anyhow, Parker, I know you've been waiting patiently. Let's hear what you have to share.
I could type 108 words per minute, so I can transcribe what you were saying the entire time, because I don't think the video recording is working. My folder says 0 file size, but at least I got all the text down.
I have it recording on my end, just in case.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive typing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say so too. Thank you. Wow.
So I had 52 jobs in a year. 52 different job titles in a year. One time.
That's
for about 2 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you keep your momentum with 52 different jobs? How do you keep that energy flow going, and how do you keep each one afloat?
Oh, I had 2 jobs per day.
That's good.
I was gonna say, that's the ultimate short-timer disease right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had
Every week, new job. I'm out of here. I'm not shepherding anymore. I'm driving a cab today.
No, it's like what I did was like when people gives other people a job, a task, and they think it will be done in about a week, I would do it in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like say
Yeah.
they told me to fix the network computers, and I go, oh, this is so easy. I could do this in about 2 days, and just get it all done, and then I had no work for. A normal person would take about 2 weeks to get it done, but I did it in 2 days. So then I would ask my job counselor, I need a new job, and they send me jobs at the jobs like this, and I learned a lot from that experience, and then talked to lots of people.
Efficiency.
I did dishwashing, and then the most funny one is that I replaced the hospital administrator while she was on a maternity leave. So while she was out giving birth to a child, I was managing her office, like 10 doctors, license renewals, and 2 employees and their tax, and so I just took a lot of responsibility without asking. I could do it. It's easy. Just give it to me. Be open. And that's just attitude.
Let me ask you,
Katsura. Go ahead.
what was your motivation? Yeah, what was your motivation? I mean, obviously not money. You could have milked the jobs for more money. What were you looking for experiences, or were you looking to be of service? What was the driving force there?
I think it's my brain. I have a photographic memory. So once I see something done, I could repeat it. So it's like, say I see someone build a house, and then I just watch him. I'll pay him to build it, but I could duplicate the process every step of the way. Mm-hmm. So
is it the challenge of doing that?
So most of all is that once I learn and then able to repeat it and then even improve upon it, do it 250 times better and faster, more efficiently, and find corners where steps were needed, added in to make this work better, how to analyze the quality assurance part of it. And then I perfected it, and I presented to them with a manual how to do this job better. And I'm bored because I'm doing it so good, and it becomes a routine. And I say, okay, job's done. I give to the person, and then usually by then, the another person is ready to take over. The normal person now is taking over for. One time I went to a school district to help her elderly secretary write a bilingual newsletter based on entire district of 7 elementary school students' test score for California tests for graduating. So I wrote a bilingual Spanish-English newsletter based on stats they gave me, making the charts and translating bilingual formats on a PageMaker or something like that. Boring work. But after that, she was helped, and then she learned from my side, and then another person who had a PhD in education learned from me how to do it, and then they said, oh, I think we got it. Your job is done.
So you provide a template for other people.
Yeah, I come in as a consultant. From there on, I became an IT consultant where they asked someone to come in and think out of the box and create a solution for them that works for them, that can adopt and create manual like this right here. Heather asked me to come in and do something about the network and computers find solutions, and then I already presented, I think, 6 solutions about how to get money.
Yes, you have.
And network solutions, things like that. So that's pretty much what I am, and my brain working that way. Like when, just like example I gave out the wedding solutions, people needed a wedding photographer, and I was there. I gave them a solution. So now they're happy.
And I don't know which of you muses it was, but one of you gave me an inspiration for a question that I would like to pose to everyone on the panel. It might be a tough one. It might be kind of unfair, and I don't know how I would answer this, but if you search your heart and you look at the work you care most about and love the most, and look at the work you do for a living, how closely related are those two? And let's, Lauren, you still with us?
He's
there.
He's on delay because he cut the microphone off. He might be flushing the toilet or stuff like that.
Doing something. Okay, cool. Well, he'll join again. Yeah. Sir, how about you? What?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just kind of go around to everybody.
Thank you. At first, so the work I do for money, just to make sure I have this understood properly, what is the connection between the work I do for money and the work that comes from my heart space, right?
Sure. Yeah, how closely related are the two?
Okay. Well, right now, to make money, I'm serving, and then my passion work is Muse, is Earthlight, is anything that promotes healing, and they're not related at all. One of them is for survival, is strictly for survival, but that survival helps these other projects keep moving. And so right now, the sun, the source of gravitational pull and force within my life is my passion, is my passion work, is the Earthlight Project, is this Muse broadcasting. These things are what keep me motivated, what keep me uplifted, and what keep me inspired to keep moving forward in life. And so anything else just kind of like goes within this gravitational force and how it comes in to make it work, make it happen. And I mean, of course, the ultimate goal is to where it just is self-sustaining, where there isn't a need for anything else, and where 100% of my heart, or at least near 100% of my heart, is going towards the work that inspires me, that keeps me driven, that I feel is my mission. But within this, even at times when I'm working a job that I'm working just to make money, I find a way, how can this help other aspects? How can I connect with people? How can we keep that connection strong and this help bring about a growth in what really drives me, and keeping that focus in that direction, and remembering what keeping eye on what my true goal is, my true mission. And from there, it's a balancing act. It's a constant balancing act on how can I most effectively use my energy to keep solution orientated and move in this direction. There. If that answers it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, beautifully. Tanya, are you still with us? Let's give you a chance to jump in if you are.
I'm not really, I guess on a, survival, I'm not working right now. I'm working towards getting my license. And I feel I guess my work is really closely related to what I feel like my passion is, because I really wanted to help people and educate them on healthier ways to live, and as somebody who's suffered from superficial problems, acne, different things, it's really important for me to get past that and be comfortable in my own skin, and that's something I really am passionate about helping other people out with, is being comfortable in their own skin and kind of not wanting, to have to wear all this makeup and adapt to society's standards of beauty when each person is beautiful in their own way. And if they could just see that, maybe they have something wrong with them that is stopping them from seeing their inner beauty, and if I can help them with that and make them just as beautiful on the outside as I know that they are on the inside. that's my goal, I guess.
And that's great that you found a spiritual metaphor through the actual physical work that you do. That's great.
Yeah.
Heather.
Yeah. So I am committed to being a muse, being inspired, staying inspired, and allowing that process to inspire other people. So whatever project or job I take on, it's because I'm inspired to do it for some reason. Right now, I'm really inspired by body movement, by dance, by body movement therapy, and also by energy work. So it's working with the physical body and also with the spiritual body. But then down the road, who knows, like 6 months or 6 years from now, I'm going to have other interests that are really passionate for me, and they're really inspiring me to do a project in a certain way on my path. And so I am committed to just following whatever my inspirations are, because what I bring to the table for any job that I do or any work that I do is embodying the muse, being the muse 100%. And so I feel like if I can just follow what allows me to do that, then I'm happy, and I'm automatically making other people around me happy. So that was one of the questions that came up for me when you were talking to everybody else about how closely related their passions are to what they do for work, is if you feel like they're not at all related, how can you bring what you're passionate about into your job? Like you're saying, she serves people. Well, she already loves serving people in the world. Yeah. So there you're serving people.
Nothing's more important than service work.
You can inspire people when you're connecting with people. Like, yeah, what are your values for what you're passionate about, and how can you bring that into your job? And then if it's just not aligning, if it doesn't feel like an alignment, like maybe there's a challenge that can allow us to change or bring in another opportunity. I wanted to answer the question for myself, and did I? Yeah, do you think I answered that completely?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I have sort of an ulterior motive that I'll reveal here at the end of this process. So that was great for me.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Parker, did you have an experience to share?
I have been retired since. Okay, I was retired since July 1st, 2008. So I just hit 5-year mark of my retirement. I haven't actually had a job since July 1st, 2008. So I've been...
so what would you consider your work?
Work... Okay.
Broaden the definition as far as you need to.
My front yard and backyard is 10,000 square foot. So it was just grass 5 months ago. So I converted all that into growing organic garden where I'm eating most of my vegetable needs off of. I don't even go to grocery store because mine's fresher.
Yeah.
I get so
awesome.
In the front yard, I have. I actually wrote this down. Okay, I have a total of 6 rabbits, 2 dogs, 3 parakeets, 1 rabbit hutch, 1 rabbit hotel, 2 chicken tractors. I have 22 8-foot by 4 feet by 1 feet raised bed made of cedar, and 22 6-foot by 3 foot by 2 feet tall raised bed made of Douglas fir. And I have 5 cherry trees, 3 plum trees, 2 lemon trees, 2 apple trees, 2 olive trees, 2 navel orange trees, 2 pomegranate trees, 7 grapevines, 200 onions, 200 garlic, 50 elephant garlic, 20 square feet of California organic oats, 20 square feet of organic wheat, 2 cascade hops, 12 strawberries, bushes, 12 blueberry shrubs, 1 artichoke, 2 peppermint brush, 2 dahlias, 200 daffodils, and then 100 pea plants, 100 Swiss chard, 100 carrots, 100 spinach, 100 romaine lettuce, and 40 square feet of crimson clovers, plus sage and rosemary and things like that.
You have no job but
Yeah.
lots of responsibilities.
Yeah, that's what I did for 5 months while I also raised a newborn infant. He's now 14 months. And I have a wife, and I do all the laundry and dishwashing and make the coffee so she could wake up in the morning, make her breakfast, change my son's diaper in the morning, feed him 2 bottles, and turn on his favorite TV show, and walk the dog, feed the dog, pick up all the dog poop. We have a 95-pound dog and a 62-pound dog, and feed all the rabbits all at once, and then water the yard front and back, and then my chores are done around 9:30, then I eat my breakfast, and then I go to the court and file cases or go to weddings and photograph. Right now I joined a triathlon running club in Portland, Triathlon Club, Dragon Boat Club, and Hiking Club through the Meetup group, meetup.com. And locally you find people who wants to go activities with, or art show, or go to just, parties and stuff. So I'm involved in that. So one of the things I did was, while I did all the chores, and I said, I am going to a triathlon meet, and I'm going to do a 62-mile bicycle ride. So I did that. And then that afternoon, that was from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then I drove back from Salem to Portland and went to a belly dancing festival called Anahata Festival. I told Heather about and sent her a link to that on Facebook. So I went there as a photographer, videographer, and then videographed their event from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. because their after party started from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. And then I chose one photo that was really amazing. I edited it really good, and then I printed it as a artwork.
Parker,
Cool.
you
Sounds like a
are
full
an
life, my
amazing
friend.
human being.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize when I was. What's that? Yeah. I didn't realize when I was throwing out this topic how much it was what I've been facing lately, because I was seasonally laid off from my job as an educational consultant, and I always thought that that was something I was doing to serve my other job, my real work, the creative things I wanted to do, and gave me time to audition, among other things. And I find that without that structure, without somebody telling me where to be and when to be there, it's kind of a frightening, uncertain place. So I want to thank everybody for answering honestly, so I can glean a little bit of direction from your answers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was thinking, when you're talking about the internal work, and as we are able to put energy into internal work, I think it reflects. The more we work on our internal, then the external follows suit. First, we heal from within, and then the outside comes in place after that. And so as there is more time devoted into working internally, then we have then it appears, it starts to show up in our environment, and that's how we can fully live out our passions in that direction. So it's all good. I don't think one is greater than the other there. And if anything, I kind of believe that, internal work, I don't know, I guess that's a tough one, but I feel like personally in my life, if I were to have a choice and, if I could still survive, I would choose internal work first and find a way to make other ends meet. But first take care of myself internally and not force my body to be doing work just to survive, but make sure that first I am internally okay, and then move forward from there.
Yeah, I'm at a little different stage of the evolution, but I'm finding I can live myself into right thinking, but I cannot think myself into right living. So it still comes outside in for me. So I'd love to hear from you guys' experiences there too.
You could come over to my house.
I would gladly. I'm not that far away. Let's do
You're
this one of these days.
welcome.
And it's been very nice meeting you, man. I appreciate everything you've had to share.
Everybody's welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought that was just me. Oh, okay.
No, everybody, even Steve and Katsura, Tanya, and then Luke Skywalker, his middle name, Lele. Lele. Yeah, and even Lauren.
Oh, and that's a let you out, Luke.
And Heather Muse, too.
Wow. It's a pretty nice show, actually.
Gresham, Oregon.
We love you.
Yeah.
We love you.
I love you, babe. Oh, I have 31 bottles of alcohol. All hard liquor.
When I leave, you will still have 31.
Yeah, okay, sure. I can just give you a couple bottles to take.
That's really, you have such a warm heart. Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you. Your heart is so warm.
A lot of what I've been working on myself is something that I have coined apocalypse insurance. I don't know. Has anybody ever heard anything like that?
Yeah, it's already existing. It's called umbrella insurance that covers everything else, including lawsuits and everything. And it's called umbrella insurance.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be like, the infrastructure fails, the asteroids come, whatever, earthquakes, the grid falls, and we got to band together our families in micro communities to make our ends meet, and making sure that we've got friends that are seeing to our needs together, so that everybody's making sure everybody's needs get met. That's how we're going to survive the tough times coming.
I have a lifetime hunting license, shellfish fishing license from Oregon, Washington, California.
It's really good to hear all this from you, Parker. Yeah, you definitely an inspiration.
I could go fishing for you.
Definitely an inspiration. Well, meeting together in the time,
I get like 10 days free camping in Oregon, and then all the national park services I access to. I could bring 9 people and free parking and everything.
Wow.
Well,
we are international.
Take you up on that. Yeah, build it internationally. Yes, so
we are international.
Sure. That's
like your space there's people all over the place, and
I get discounts on renting or buying federal lands. For events.
I love it.
Yes. Agreed. Wow.
A joy to meet you.
There are resources.
I think.
I'm glad.
Yes, and this is only the beginning. There's so much more to expand upon. This has been. Would anyone like to add anything else? Go ahead.
I'm feeling so wonderful. This is awesome.
Yeah.
There's a fireworks going on at the Waterfront Park in Portland downtown. 11 to 8 p.m. Third and the fourth.
Ah, third and fourth.
Third and fourth. It's a blues festival.
Oh,
there's going to be lots of people sitting around where you could just tell them everything about the Muse and walk around and tell everything.
Oh my goodness.
Opportunity to spread the goodness. And you could do it in your local community as well.
You're
Go
so
to a
right.
bar and tell people about stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really inspiring, just getting it out there, sharing. That's one of the things that's so important with inspiration. We can't inspire if we don't share. And so just sharing what we're doing, that helps to draw in that unity. The more we send out that message and then speak upon it. Thank you. So good to remember.
Katsura, you know what I think would be a good idea is to share on the earthlightproject.org website a good amount of inspiration through now, Heather, do you remember that document that I shared that was Jose Aguilar's translation of the Mayan prophecies and what it means to, like, the role of the Muse in the New Age?
Heather, we lost
Maybe
Heather.
Good to share that document. Oh, okay. I can't see who's on as a telephone phantom, but it would be good to share that for folks because there have been prophecies from the Mayan tradition that has shown about the role of a muse in this new world that's coming together that we're part of, you know. So
what does
sharing
that say?
message would be really helpful. Well, I would like to be able to share it, but it's quite long actually.
Can we have that available for the next Muse?
Yes. It's quite long though. I would point it to people. I could share the link to it once it's uploaded to the VIIII Project website, and people could reference it at their leisure. But it's really helpful to find out what our role is as muses in this culture that's unfolding, you know.
It's a great teaser.
So wonderful to be here with you all.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
It is. How do we close these out and take advantage of these good feelings?
Okay. Well, for closing,
Eat something. I love ice cream.
Yes, I think starting and ending with love is a great route, and I want to say I love you all dearly, and thank you for joining, and ever so much love be with one and all throughout this coming of time, and may you continue to share an inspiration.
Beautiful.
Light and love, everybody.
Love you all.
Yes, and more Malaysian bliss. Thank you.
Even for all. So it
was really nice talking to everyone.
Yes.
Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Parker.
Okay, I sent a transcription of this